Hi, thanks for joining me again. So if you're just joining, then this is the second episode in a series on Regency Costuming on a budget. If you missed part one, you can find the link up here to watch how to make your own budget Regency dress. And this week we're talking about accessories. And I'm really excited about this because one of my favorite things, as I talked about earlier in the first episode, was getting the base dress down, then using accessories to make it really sing. This is not about like 100% historically accurate every single thing. This is more of a mastering the silhouette and the accessories. So that's what we're going to get into today. So we're going to start off with what I think is one of the more important things, which is where you're going to put all your stuff. So usually you're going to want to go to like a ball or a picnic or some kind of Regency event, and you're going to want to have your things in something, but you don't necessarily want to take a big purse, a modern purse. What are you going to sort in? Here are some options. Okay, so I think baskets are a really great accessory because you can pop all of your stuff in here that you need to, and it looks period appropriate. This is great for picnic. This is great for balls. You can throw everything in here, like your change of clothes or whatever, and it looks great. If you have a little bit more that's overflowing from this, just put like a shawl over it and it looks fine. It covers up all your modern stuff. This is like my kind of catch-all, really good. It holds my stuff for Regency outings, and I can cover up any modern stuff in here. If you want something much smaller, much more demure for a ball, you can also make or find a reticule. So I've made a little circle reticule here. It is just long enough to hold my phone, my keys, and my small wallet that I take to a ball. It's not going to hold a ton, but it's there. It's fancy. You can have it on your arm. It can go with you to a ball. This is another one that's less embroidered and fancy. It's another really basic reticule shape. It's a drawstring bag, and I think if you have any kind of drawstring bag at your house, probably like for gifts or something, like maybe jewelry came in it, if it's a little bit bigger, that's also a really good dupe for a reticule until you're ready to either make your own or invest in a slightly nicer one. It's pretty simple, just 4 pieces of fabric in this shape. You put a ribbon through the middle and you cinch it up. These are my go-to things for holding my stuff, which is really important because you're probably gonna want to take stuff with you wherever you go. Other things that I like to have with me: fans. So this is another really good accessory for when it's hot outside or inside. Whether you're at a ball or picnic, you're gonna want a fan. This is not historically accurate to the time. This lace wouldn't have been popular. This kind of fan wouldn't have been popular, but no one really has complained to me other than online about it. I got this at the Jane Austen Center in Bath, so I usually bring that out as I'm not going for historically accurate stuff. I'm going in the spirit of this event. And if it is a Jane Austen event, then I feel a Jane Austen fan is the perfect thing to wear. You can also get less fancy. You can get really simple, like dollar store fans, and you can just go with that. You'll want something to keep you a little cool should you be going to a ball or a picnic that might be in a warm climate. So now you have a reticule, a thing to hold your stuff, or a basket, which I think is just a great thing to have on you. Now, your hands. You're gonna want gloves probably. Whether you're going to a ball or even a picnic, you're going to want something that will cover your hands because it was very appropriate for the Regency time. We all swoon over that scene in Pride and Prejudice where Mr. Darcy and Lizzie Bennet's naked hands touch as he's putting her into the carriage. But at the time, you probably would have been wearing gloves. So that being said, there are a lot of options for this. I have everything in my hand from something from like H&M, an antique store, to something from like a dollar store. These are really simple cotton gloves that I got while antiquing. These are much more modern than Regency era. They have the little scalloping, but as we all saw in the new Emma adaptation, scalloping would have been fine for the era. These are not going to be elbow length. I do have some of those too, but they're a little bit harder to find in like cotton versus the more polyester prom ones. So if you find cotton, I'd say go for cotton because you can also wash those really easily and nicely. So when you go antiquing, look for those. These are some pleather gloves. You can also find leather gloves when you go antiquing and thrifting, and you can find them a little bit longer. Again, those are going to be tough because small hands. I will say if they're a little bit tight, if you try them on, if they're leather, not pleather, if they're leather, they will stretch a little bit for your hand. So you're a little in luck there. Otherwise, you can still get pretty nice gloves in winter from most places, from H&M, Amazon, any place. Any retailer is going to have some leather pleather gloves that are pretty plain. These are really good investments because they're very simple, and these are things that I use for Regency stuff. I wore this with my Jade costume for my Star Wars costuming club. So good investment all around. And these are the most basic gloves that I was talking about. These you can get from a dollar store sometimes. I believe I got these from Daiso. Daiso will often have little basic driving gloves and stuff like that. That might be good dupes for you. I turn these inside out because it has a little edge to it that pokes out. So I turn these inside out so it looks a little bit more rounded. But they're pretty decent dupes for just having very simple net gloves. And yeah, I think these are really basic staples to have. They work for a lot of other periods as well. If you get the cheap ones that are in the multi-packs and you don't feel bad when you get them dirty. I'd also say, experiment dyeing them. I'm pretty sure I've seen these in the trailer for the new Bridgerton series or something very similar to these, because I can tell from the bunching in certain places in the design that maybe they were the mass-produced kind that were just dip dyed. But I'd say all of these are pretty decent investments. Again, these are really good starts for other eras as well. A final touch that I really like is a little parasol. Now, most of us probably have a lace one. That's fine. In the Regency era, they would have looked a little bit differently, but these are fine. This I got in Chinatown. These are all really basic things that protect you from the sun and also just look really nice in photos. All right. So we have basic accessories, and I hope they were helpful for you for your first Regency budget wardrobe. And thanks for joining. I hope these were helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because that's what we do now.